welcome back to another DeFi Raiders AMA. My name's Relentless. Today we're going to be talking to Uncle B and Feynman from the Vela team. Welcome. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. Really excited to hear from you. Talk about what you've built, what you've got coming, future plans. I think you got a really exciting roadmap ahead and a lot of stuff to talk about. So if you guys want to go ahead and give an introduction and kind of talk about your roles on the team.
Absolutely. I guess I'll start. So my name is Burke. I go as Uncle B. I lead the strategic partnerships as well as the BD initiatives for the Vela team. I come from a traditional financial background. I jumped into the crypto space, I guess, in late 2017. I bought a bunch of as much Bitcoin as I could back then and lost it all, of course, right after a month. And then instead of just quitting the space, I decided to learn as much as possible. I went for a more academic approach, wrote a bunch of articles for the more so on the Turkish community. And then I decided to get my master's in digital currencies. Yes, there is one. And once I finished that, I jumped into this space full time. Worked at, before I joined the Vela team, I worked with Rome Blockchain Labs. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that group, but it's a huge group that built multiple decentralized finance applications. Some of them which are very notable, one being is the first lending protocol on Avalanche ecosystem, and the other one is being the co-developed, being the first lending protocol on Moonbeam chain. And afterwards, I joined the Vela team, and as I mentioned, I lead the partnerships, the business development initiatives, as well as I assist Feynman, and we work on the token economy design together on that end, and the risk management.
Awesome. Yeah, guess I'll go ahead. So I go by Feynman. My name is Anthony. So I lead our operations here at Vela. My background is actually a little unique. So I come from the Web 2 space. I actually used to lead a team of data scientists. We used to build SaaS solutions in kind of like traditional oil and gas, actually, to be honest. That's where I came from. But I've been with, I started with my crypto kind of experience, I guess, back in 2017 as well, kind of similar to Burke. Made a lot, lost a lot, made a lot, lost a lot again. So it's been definitely kind of a crazy journey for me. In terms of kind of on the project side in crypto, I started with a project called Relay Chain. They're a bridge protocol. So I was doing a lot of the analytics for them. During that time, I also did quite a bit of trading. I still do. I am quite an active trader. I actually used to trade professionally for a prop firm back in the day, primarily options and Forex, not so much crypto with them. But definitely since then, I kind of do trade quite a bit of crypto still myself. Been with Dex Pools, now Vela, for about a year now, actually. And it's been quite a journey. We've definitely made a lot of progress over the last few months to last half a year. And super excited to talk more about that today.
Yeah, very cool. I mean, you guys have quite an extensive team with just ridiculous amounts of experience, from Danish, from Bitcoin. I mean, you got the founder of Moonwell, like you got all kinds of stuff on there. So, and just what a vast experience, right? And I mean, how do you guys feel that your team sets you apart, like from some of these other projects, right? So there's teams that say they have a ton of experience, but then you kind of look into it and it's not this level of experience. So how did you guys manage to get this team together, and what do you think, how do you think that really sets you up for success?
I myself joined the Vela team a little bit after the inception of it, but maybe it would make sense, Feynman, if you could just share us I guess we need to speak about Dex Pools first, how it was formed at the beginning, and then I'll take on from there.
Yeah, so I actually jumped on board with Dex Pools back last year, I think in November or December. So I see Dan actually was on the call. He maybe hopped on or off here. So one of our co-founders along with Travis. So I think real kudos to Dan, especially to kind of forming the team and putting the team together and really finding what I think is really great talent across many different areas within crypto and even outside of crypto for that matter. So yeah, I think we started slow and just continued to grow the team. to kind of where it's at today. But like you said, I think a really broad range of experience on the team, and I think that's why we actually work really well together. None of us kind of know everything, obviously, and so being able to depend on others and rely on their experience to kind of fill some of those gaps has been very, like just a really cool thing to be a part of, essentially. I don't know, Burke, if you want to speak more on that.
No, one thing I can add is that besides the experience and the very deep experience within this team, I would also like to say that it's grit of the team. We are always motivated, and we have a very good synergy. We work very well together, and I think that's another reason why Vela is different. Vela will be different, and that's what sets us apart.
Yeah, very cool. I mean, you can kind of just, see it just from the things that you guys have already done, just how much experience and wealth of knowledge and really what, it gives a lot of hope for what you guys are bringing. And that's clearly why you have such a great community. So, and then since you did mention it, one of the things I kind of wanted to talk about was kind of the transition from Dex pools to Vela. And I kind of wanted to hear a little bit about the story of, what was like the moment, or what was it that made you guys want to transition from that to Vela?
I can take this one. So in terms of DEX pools, we built an OTC peer-to-peer trading platform that was amazing especially for the bull market, when there's so many new tokens coming out, but they don't really have the necessary liquidity in order to be able to bring a very fluid trading experience for their users. And an OTC application comes in very handy in that case. But when we launched DEX pools, of course, at the end of Q1 of 2022, that's when we were going slowly into the bear market. And then we've seen the volume dropping a little bit on that end, because the majority of the volume that has been traded within the crypto world has been always around the high liquidity, like very small slippage tokens overall. And afterwards, we came together as the core team, and then we decided that, hey, like, we've been observing this up and coming perpetual exchange experience that's going on, and then we thought that we could make a difference. We could make this better. We can improve on this, and we can be a part of this innovation. So we made a pivot to building Vela, which is going to be a perpetual exchange. And of course, the OTC platform that we built is still live. It's still going. DEX pools is going to be integrated in the future into our Vela ecosystem.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. So then let's kind of transition here and start to get into the project. If you guys want to throw out first just kind of the high level overview of Vela, and then we'll get into the features and some other things.
The overview of Vela is it's a perpetual exchange that we're building. It's fully on chain. There are similar ones that are out there, which are like GMX, like the reputable ones, GMX, Gains Network, and such. We're building a perpetual exchange. Our main focus is that. However, we do have plans around bringing a spot exchange afterwards into the ecosystem, bringing our OTC platform into the ecosystem, and build a very, very fluid DeFi hub, I should say. I don't know, Feynman, if you wanted to add anything to that.
No, I think, that's pretty much covered it. We have a lot of big plans in the future. But right now our primary focus is on the Perps platform. Really want to make that a really good, solid, seamless experience for traders. And then we're gonna, once we kind of feel like we've kind of got that, to where we want where we want that to be, then we'll start kind of spreading our wings a little bit more and start to integrate some of those other things that Burke mentioned, like the OTC, building a spot exchange as well. And we have some other things lined up, but those are kind of probably the next two in line.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. All right, so cool. Let's kind of get into some of the features. I mean, some of the things I think that you guys have done that are super cool are like you have some pretty innovative management tools, like being able to stop loss, take profit on a certain position or a certain percentage of a position. I mean, you guys have like a really sleek, clean UI from like some of the sneak peeks. Do you guys want to talk about some of the features that you're most excited about, you know, that aren't just like the traditional features of an exchange?
Sure. Yeah, I can cover some of those. So I think some of the ones that will stand out from other dexes definitely in the space. You kind of mentioned a couple already. So the basically the ability to basically set multiple take profits and stop losses, right? So you can have basically unlimited number of take profits and stop losses. So for an example, if you're longing on Bitcoin, you could say, okay, I want to have, I want to take profit, 50% of my position at 22,000, and then another 25% at 23,000, and the remainder at 24,000, for example, right? So you can easily do that with our platform. So that's a fairly, I think, unique feature. Another one is the ability to set trailing stop losses, right? So basically, it's pretty simple on our platform, but the actual technical side of it is much more complex. But without going into those details too much, essentially, with us, you can set like a trailing stop that either is based on a percent or on a trailing amount, right? So that's something that else is a kind of a cool feature, and just the ability to be able to what we're calling like linked orders. So basically, from the UI, we've tried to make it very easy and as transparent as possible to view kind of everything that I mentioned in kind of a single window, essentially, right? So you're not going to be surprised when you have kind of outstanding open orders, right? It's going to be very easy to manage all of your open orders, essentially, right? And as well as active positions. So I think just it's kind of the overall kind of user experience that I think will stand out to traders, and I do really think that they're going to enjoy using the product.
Yeah, very cool. I'm a big fan of the being able to stop loss, take profit on a percentage of the position all the way up. To me, that just kind of screams like, hey, we're giving you as many options to like protect yourself as a trader as possible, and that just shows such a commitment to the people that are using your platform, and I really love that.
Yeah, and it's not just about like that's a really key point for us, right? Like obviously, we'll get into this probably more in terms of like how our VLP vault, right? Essentially, how that goes
Mm-hmm.
up or down based on traders winning or losing, essentially. But we really want to build a platform that's like for the trader, right? A lot of other platforms out there, essentially they just want traders to get liquidated, right? So they can enjoy nice profits, but that's not what we're here for, right? I mean, that's going to happen naturally, but we don't want to be the cause for traders to lose, right? If they're going to lose, we want it to be because of decisions that they've made, not because the platform isn't reliable, for example.
Yeah, totally agree. You don't want your success to be built on your users' failures. So, um, yeah, I think that's awesome. And then something else, kind of a feature that I had mentioned to Uncle B when I was chatting with him, is that I think is overlooked. I haven't really heard anything talked about it. Is your Vela stream, and your price, your price feeds that you guys built internally. Do you want to kind of like touch on that, because I don't think that I've seen anything as in depth as your structure there for an internal one.
Yeah, absolutely. For the Oracle solutions, now it's been a hot topic for I guess, the perpetual exchanges that is out there since the recent events and everything else. In terms of us, we are going to be utilizing some custom price feeds. There are multiple reasons for that, but of course, the Chainlink is being there as like a backup at all times. However, with Chainlink, I guess we've seen that there is a little bit of a front running issue with utilizing Chainlink oracles. On top of that, of course, we want to differentiate ourselves in every way possible. So this includes the features of the application, of course, for the traders, but as well as the assets that we provide for people. So we will be able to, the Vela users, the traders will be able to bet on not specifically the main crypto tokens, but we're also bringing in the traditional money markets, as well as some additional markets, some unique markets that we haven't seen in the space yet. And our custom feed allows us to be able to do this.
Yeah, very awesome. Are you referencing like the market cap pairs that you guys are going to launch soon?
That's right.
Oh,
That's
perfect.
right. That's a quite a unique that I haven't seen one yet. I don't think anyone I've spoken to have seen one yet, and it's a very good feature to have. People would like to be able to long and short to a market cap of an maybe a stable asset. But yeah, we're that's our ideology, is that we're always going after the innovation. So things like this, the newer asset types or newer features to be able to provide to the traders, is our main goal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just to add to that, so we've had a lot of really innovative ideas from our community, right? That we take a lot of their feedback and have actually implemented some of it. So we definitely value that quite a bit. And the market cap assets was actually one of a community idea that was brought up that we decided to implement. And we've had others. In fact, today on another AMA, it was brought up to do like Bitcoin hash rate, right? So there's kind of cool things that we could do. But one thing to keep in mind is that any asset that we do add, we have to make sure that there's like risk mitigation around it, right? So, for example, if it's an extremely volatile asset, can it be manipulated at all? There's things like that that we have to consider before we would kind of onboard that asset. But definitely starting with market cap, I think, is a pretty innovative kind of neat idea. But I think you'll definitely see some more similar type of assets in the future.
Yeah, very cool. Looking forward to seeing that. All right, and then kind of the last thing I want to talk about, and then we'll get into like the tokenomics and everything else that you guys are doing, is just your approach to security, right? You guys hired an independent cybersecurity contractor. You're doing audits. I just kind of wanted to touch on like if you're gonna, are you gonna like work on bug bounties? Are you doing continuous audits? What's kind of your approach there?
That's a very good question, and it's one of our main points, and it's our main focus. It's always been the risk management overall and protecting our users as well as our LPs. Just like Feynman just mentioned a few seconds ago, is that we want to make sure we take every single precaution we can in order to be able to protect our users. So for the security side, yes, on audit side, we're talking to multiple parties on that end. We will be publishing our audit soon, as well as in terms of your question, the continuous audits and bug bounties are definitely in the plans. We just want to make sure that we give the incentive out there to be able to help us to make this make Vela as secure as possible at all times.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, you guys are coming off the top rope, so security and speed and user experience, and I think what more can you really be looking for right now? So all right, cool. So let's kind of get into really the project itself, and let's kind of start with the tokenomics. If you want to start with Vela and the eVela, and then kind of all the benefits for staking, and then also how the benefits of vesting the eVela and the reward and the benefits there for those who do it.
Absolutely. I'll jump on this one, and Femi, you can jump in anytime you like. But around the Vela and eVela, Vela is our ecosystem token. It will always be. So when the Vela comes live, and right now, if you do have any DXB, you will be able to bridge and get Vela. But what Vela is for is that if you do stake, you get multiple utility out of this. You get fee share, so the real yield element is there. You will be able to collect up to a certain percentage of the fees generated within the platform. And eVela is an interesting one because we've seen other escrow tokens that are out there within the DeFi world. Ours is quite similar to, for example, the GMX is one. However, of course, there are a few mechanics that are different. One being that when you're vesting, you don't really need to secure other tokens to make sure that you lock up other tokens to be able to vest your escrow tokens. Escrow Vela, you can use it again in two ways. You can stake it just like staking Vela. You will be able to collect rewards from the platform itself. or you can vest it. And when you vest it, you will be able to get the same amount of Vela tokens within the 12-month period when it's in the vesting contract. Now, yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of the Vela and eVela. In terms of the Vela's fee share model, one more thing I should add that I forgot is that currently you will start with a portion of the perpetual exchange fees. However, as we bring more applications to our ecosystem, such as what we mentioned, spot exchange and our OTC platform, there will be a fee sharing model from those ends as well. And one more utility that Vela and eVela staking has is that you will be able to get discounts at a certain size of Vela is staked or eVela is staked. You'll be able to get specific discounts on your trading. So if you're a trader, you're also encouraged to stake some Vela.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, your chart's pretty good there. So for everyone, if you're not aware, check out the chart for those fee reduction model. It's pretty cool. Really just a lot of incentives here to stake. I mean, just tons of fees and rewards to contribute to the protocol. A lot more than you generally see with some of the other projects. So yeah, super cool.
I don't know, Burke, if you wanted to talk to, or I can talk about the buyback model. That kind of goes hand in hand, I guess, with kind of what you mentioned.
Oh, please. Yes, that's right. Please go ahead.
So yeah, basically, so we're gonna the platform will generate fees, right? Based on kind of opening and closing positions, funding rates, liquidation fees. A portion of those fees, basically, essentially 20%, will go towards buybacks. And the way that's going to work is we'll basically buy back Vela from the open market, from bonds. There's many strategies that we're looking at, but essentially the Vela that's bought back from the market will be loaded onto the staking contracts, which will basically emit eVela. So kind of the nice perk there is that we don't need any, we won't need to mint in the future any Vela in order to sustain the rewards model. So I feel like it's a kind of a cool program, that buyback program that we have in place, and it's going to ensure that the demand is kind of, there's always kind of a demand essentially there for the token.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I like your buyback model because it's you get a lot of the buyback and burn stuff, right, which has not always been efficient for maintaining valuation. So I like the way that you guys have that structured. And then really quick before we move on, I meant to insert this at the beginning. Just if you guys have some questions, throw them in the group chat down at the bottom in the chat. I'm going to be doing a $50 USDC giveaway to the 2 best questions we'll get to at the end, just as a thank you for your support and the phenomenal support that I've received since we started doing this. So just want to throw that out there, and I appreciate it. And then okay, cool. So let's move on and kind of talk about VLP and then your VLP vaults.
Yes.
You guys want to break that down for us?
Absolutely. So the VLP is our liquidity pool that will be utilized for margin lending to the traders. It's a little bit of a chicken and egg, like we always say, but in order for traders to be able to trade on our application and take leverage, they need to be able to borrow from somewhere. And that's this liquidity pool will be basically doing. It will be solely used for that specific purpose to take the counter side of the trade and be able to allow leverage for the traders. It is based on solely USDC at the moment. Mainly our goal is to be able to maybe in the future add more stables to it. However, the reason why we kept it only stable coins or right now just USDC is to make sure that it is more market neutral in terms of the market volatility. It doesn't necessarily move because of the market volatility. That's the reason why we didn't want to have like a basket of different assets in there and just base it off of USDC. So anyone can go into our application and mint VLP by just staking USDC. And the VLP holders will be able to earn up to 60% of the platform fees, all the liquidations and all the, the losses. At the same time, let's talk about a little bit on the risk side. The reason why they're getting these rewards is that because they're also taking the risk that if the trader wins, And if the trader profits, that comes out of the VLP as well.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, it's like, yeah, awesome. Thanks for the breakdown there. Yeah, there's just, it's just as I read through the white paper and and all your stuff, is just there's just so many different ways for your users to earn and be rewarded for their contributions and using your system that are just so over the top, that I think it's really cool, right? Just to see this level of giving back and taking care of the community. So, all right. So then, with my last question, kind of with the tokenomics, before, well, not the last one, we'll launch into Hyper VLP here in a second. Is I wanted to talk a little bit about your fees, just to give kind of an overview to the users of the fees that they'll be facing, right? That are going to feed back to take care of those rewards. So if you want to talk a little bit about your fee structure on the platform.
Feynman, I'll let you take this one.
Sure. So basically, there's basically two types of fees. We have trading fees and funding fees. So I'll start with trading fees. So for crypto assets, right? So kind of the main crypto pairs, we're going to start off with Bitcoin and Ethereum. There's going to be a 0.08% fee to open a position, and there's going to be a 0.08%, so the same amount to close that same position. When we look at the Forex pairs that we're going to offer, that's actually going to be kind of 1/10 that. So it's actually going to be 0.008% to open and close a position. The other fee is going to be funding fees. So the way funding fees work is they basically look at the difference between the long and short open interest, and basically apply like a factor to that that's based on the asset volatility, and that'll be a fee that basically if it's a positive funding rate, longs will basically pay that amount into the vault, and then if you're short that asset, you will actually get paid from the vault. So in essence, it's kind of like longs are paying the shorts and shorts are paying the longs, depending on if the funding rate is positive or negative. So those are basically the two trading fees, or the two types of fees, that we offer.
Okay, cool. And what's the percentage on those?
For the trading fees, or which?
Yeah, for the trading fees.
So the trading fees, it's 0.08% to open and to close a position.
Oh, nice. Very low fees.
Yeah, you can compare. Like, I think we're definitely very competitive with some of the other dexes out there. But I don't know if we're actually the lowest for sure, but we're definitely amongst the lowest. I can say that. Berkey might have a better idea than I do.
Well, you can get probably one of the lowest if you do stakes on Vela.
Yeah, well, that's true. Sorry. And then, like Burke mentioned, by staking Vela and eVela, you can get discounts on those fees. So the table, like I think we mentioned, is in the white paper and on Gitbook. You can take a look, but that will basically discount your fees. So, for example, if you hold if you stake a combination of 10,000 Vela and eVela combined, basically that gives you a 10% discount. So at that point, you'd be paying about 0.07% essentially to open and close, to give you an idea.
Yeah. Super low fees. And yeah, you're not the lowest, right? But I think when you factor in just the amount of fees that you give back, I think if you did the math there, I think your fees are probably, or your rewards are probably higher and offset like the other, lower fees from some of the other platforms.
I guess.
So.
Sorry, finish.
Go ahead.
I thought you finished. No, I was gonna say there's always like a very delicate balance in between like the fees and like, of course, as a platform you want to be able to provide the lowest fees possible, but at the same time, if you're going with this real yield motto, then you kind of have to balance it in between. So we kind of wanted to give a little bit more flexibility by doing our fees lower than some of the major competitors out there, but at the same time, you can go even lower by staking Vela or eVela.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, and the other part I'll mention to that is, there's the other reason for the fees. Like a portion of those fees do go back to our treasury, right? Which is important to kind of sustain the project long term, right? I guess people will look at that in different ways, but we feel like we see this as a long-term initiative, right? We're in this for the long term, everyone on our team. And that's why I'm here. And so I think that's super important, is to be able to sustain the project through kind of bull and bear markets, right? So that's something that as well that those fees will allow us to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a little bit of a misconception with the amount of money that goes back to a team, because that comes down to, like, people get, so, oh, those fees, that's too much to go back to the team. But it's like, well, do you want them to build a project that lasts and be able to sustain it, or do you want them to run out of runway because they don't take enough money? And
Exactly.
and your fee structure, from what I'm looking at, from going into the marketing and going back to the team and going to the treasury, is not unreasonable for what you give back, and the amount of work that you guys are doing. Everyone's got to eat, including the people who are building this. So if you give everything,
sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if you give everything away and don't take anything for yourselves, the project's going to collapse. So
absolutely, and I think there's another balance, like the in terms of like securing some portion of the fees going to the project treasury, and some projects out there, they don't do that at all. There's like 100% getting rewarded to everyone else, but it has to, for the project to be able to sustain itself, the revenue needs to come from somewhere. It's either the way that we choose, or it's going to be selling a bunch of tokens to the market and hurting the community in that way. So we chose we believe that more sustainable way of securing a small portion of the fees for the team treasury.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. So, all right. So now that we've kind of covered that, I know you guys got some exciting things that are coming we really want to talk about. I know you guys really want to talk about, but Hyper VLP. I know you guys have been making announcements about this with the minting tiers and the reward structure. You want to launch into that and tell us all about it?
Yes, Hyper VLP, I'm super excited for. It is essentially an early liquidity incentive program that previously, as I mentioned, we need to have the liquidity in order for us to be able to allow traders to go in and start trading. So there needs to be something that they need to borrow. In order to kickstart this in a healthy way, we just created this 2-week event where we encourage everyone to come mint their VLP within this Hyper VLP event and earn additional rewards throughout the next 12 months on top of the regular VLP rewards that they get. Within this event, there will be 6 different tiers of rewards. It's essentially rewarding the people who stake earliest. So the earlier you stake, the higher reward tier that you can guarantee for your VLP. And within these 6 different tiers, there will be multiple stages to the Hyper VLP. So the access to the Hyper VLP will be within multiple stages. We will have multiple early access rounds, as well as it's going to open up to the public. But this way, we will be able to reward everyone while securing a healthy amount of TVL for our trading side.
Yeah, very cool. And then some of the things that are within that, right, is kind of your early claim, I guess, kind of repercussions or whatever, how our rewards are. The rewards are given back, right, for people who, I was trying to word this properly.
I can explain this. I actually came up with the model, so I can probably the best to explain the way the rewards work. So essentially, what the way it's going to work is, depending on the amount of VLP that are minted during this Hyper VLP event during this 2-week period, at the most, if 10 million VLP are minted within that first 2 weeks, then at the maximum we're going to reward basically 2.5 million Vela over the first year. So regardless of how many people redeem during the year period, we're going to give out the full, in that example, 2.5 million Vela split over 12 months. So basically, there's going to be an airdrop every month, and the airdrop will be distributed based on how many VLP you continue to hold, right? And so for an example, for easy math, let's say that somebody attained, whatever, they minted so many VLP at a certain reward rate, and they have kind of a projected, like a base Vela reward of say 1,200 Vela over the first year, right? So that would basically give them 100 Vela per month if nothing happened. If nobody redeemed or minted, and everything just stayed status quo, they would get an airdrop of 100 Vela per month. But now some people are obviously going to redeem their base, what we call like their base VLP amount. And as they redeem, basically, they're going to forfeit basically their rewards, and they're going to get essentially redistributed to the remaining holders, right, that continue to hold their VLP. So therefore, it basically incentivizes them to hold. So in that example, if you started with earning 100 Vela per month, by just not redeeming any of your base VLP, those rewards will basically go up in time, right? Because there's something called, it's hard, I won't go over the details, but there's something called the normalization factor. And you can see it's built in on Gitbook. You can take a look at the model. But as this normalization factor goes up, and it can only go up in time, as people redeem, your rewards will go up proportionally with that factor. So that factor will start at 1, and it will go up in time over the year, and your rewards will go up as long as you don't redeem. So hopefully that makes sense. It's a bit challenging to explain over a call, but definitely take a look over Gitbook, and the entire model is there. And I provided an example of the way the model works.
Yeah. No, that's a great breakdown. And I mean, you knew what I was trying to ask. Couldn't find the word off the top of my head that I was looking for, but yeah, I think it's a really cool model. Definitely incentivizes and rewards all those who want to keep holding. So just another level of rewards, if you will.
Exactly. And
cool.
It is important to mention that Burke made the point. Sometimes people forget that it is above and beyond the standard VLP rewards, right? Which are already, I think, excellent. Basically, 60% of the total generated fees are going towards just standard VLP. So this is on top of that standard VLP. So if you do mint during the Hyper VLP event, you will earn that 60% of total generated fees plus the Hyper rewards that you get. So that's an important thing to distinguish as well.
Yeah, awesome. Definitely incentivizes the early users, which I don't think you're going to have a problem with based off your community engagement. So hopefully people are quick when this starts.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, just to kind of give you a little bit of an idea. So far we actually have about over 10,000 subscribers to our Hyper VLP event, and with commitments of over 15 million in early commitments. So so definitely it's going to be important if you do get access to one of those early rounds to mint early, because I think it's going to fill up very quickly.
Yeah, and that right there again kind of gives a great idea of what kind of runway you guys are going to have too going forward, and the excitement there. So appreciate that. I was kind of going to ask a runway question, but I know that you guys have like a decent runway now, and then with that launch, you're obviously going to have a great one. So I'll kind of skip over that. And then, so I guess we've kind of covered kind of all the tokenomics questions, and I think Hyper VLP is super cool. Tons of incentives there. I love what you guys have built. So let's kind of move into the next thing that you guys are super excited to launch, which is your beta. So do you want to first kind of talk a little bit about the lessons that you guys learned from your closed alpha that you applied to the beta, and then kind of lay out, what the prospect and everything you guys are excited about with the beta?
Yes, of course. Sorry. So in terms of the alpha, we had a private alpha, I guess a few months ago now, and then we've collected amazing amount of data, amazing comments when we were doing this, and we made insane amount of improvements since then, and now we are pretty much ready for the beta. As you guys know, we've announced the dates for the beta. The beta launch is going to be very similar to the Hyper VLP. There will be, as we mentioned, the stages that we will be allowing a specific amount of people at a specific amount, at specific dates. And eventually it will be open to public that everyone can join in. Around the beta, one thing that we must cover is that, of course, there is going to be more strict open interest limits. So when people are opening a position, there will be a little bit more strict in terms of the wallet limits, as well as the overall open interest limits on the asset side of things. But as we mentioned before, risk management is our main focus. So we just want to make sure that we scale correctly and over time. But we're very, very excited about our beta. to give you guys the dates that we announced is that January 31st will be the early access round 1, where we will be allowing a few hundred wallets. February 3rd will be the round 2. February 7th will be the round 3, and February 9th will be the open access for everyone that wants to jump in. And the beta will be on mainnet. I know this question is going to come our way, so I'll just cover it now. The beta will be on mainnet.
Okay, cool. What is so I know it opens to the public. What are the total amount of wallets that you guys are going to allow in through those first few phases?
This is a very, very good question, and Feynman, feel free to jump in on this. But on the first round, it will be only a few hundred. On the round 2, we most likely will either double or triple this amount, and then on the third one, we will be allowing a lot more than that. Getting prepared for just being open to everyone. Feynman, maybe you can share some of the numbers that we have in terms of the signups overall for the Hyper VLP early access or the beta access, just like you mentioned on the Hyper VLP side.
Sure. Yeah. To kind of go into a bit more detail. Yeah. So we're looking at around 300 to 400 for round 1, kind of double that, and then double or triple or quadruple that for round 3, and then wide open to public after that. But in terms of signups right now, we have about so far about I think 10 to 11,000 for the Hyper VLP, and then we actually have about, last I checked, about 86,000 signups for the beta. So it's definitely looking quite nice. Almost close to 100,000 people that are interested. Now, obviously, not everybody's going to get in, but we're going to do our best to kind of make it as fair as possible. So essentially, the earlier you subscribed to our kind of emails, if you hold DXP, there's basically many different factors that we're looking at. We're trying to make it as fair as possible to select kind of who gets access to the earliest rounds, and then kind of going down through the later rounds.
I guess it's fair to share here is that anyone who is interested in being in any of these early access for the Hyper VLP as well as beta, you can go to our URL vela.exchange and you can sign up for it.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. Man, that's a lot. That's a lot of work to filter through 86,000 to figure out who you want to go first. But
that's been my my last few days here, trying to make this as fair as possible. It's definitely not an easy process, but I'm doing my best here.
Yeah, I mean, you probably feel like I feel as I'm going through my Coinly to try to do taxes for the year. It's not a great run through history for me. It's not like an enjoyable trip because my first year in DeFi was rough. But I'm telling you, trying to filter through that stuff is a nightmare. So I can only imagine.
Don't even get me started on Coin. I used Coinly a couple of years ago, and I was farming everywhere, and I think I had, I don't know how many tens of thousands of transactions on different chains. That was a mess. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I'm not even sure that I'm going to get through it all properly. So maybe I'll find someone I can pay to do it for me.
That's the way to go.
That's right.
Yeah. Just always pay someone better than you if you can.
That's right.
Okay, cool. Well, I think that kind of covers Hyper VLP and beta and the two big things that you guys have coming. But then what I kind of want to ask about too, I saw you guys posted on you posted it just a few hours ago, right? Is your referral program. So what are the benefits for the referral program? Are you guys looking at offering affiliate opportunities? How's that whole thing going to work?
In terms of the referral program, it's been seeing a lot of success within the space. However, the program that we're going after is going to be very, very aggressive and probably one of the best, if not the best, within our field. Where people can basically share the specific link and invite other people and get a specific share on their on the fees that they do pay based on their volume. In terms of the one more detail to share here is that these fees that they will be collecting are going to be coming on top instead of at the end. So that will generate even better returns for the people who are taking advantage of our referral program.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, very nice. And then for the fees that you earn, right? So you get the trading fees from people you refer. Do you get do you get a percentage for if they refer someone else? Does it stack on top of each other, or is it just the next referral? If that
Oh,
makes
it's
sense.
just the next referral, so it doesn't stack. Yeah, we
Okay.
thought about that, but it definitely puts it at risk because we do take the referral fee off the top of the generated fees, so before it gets distributed, which makes the fees that much higher.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's why we chose not to stack it. It's just the kind of the next in line, basically.
Yeah, that's fair. That makes a lot of sense. All right. Well, cool. All right. So then let's kind of talk a little bit about move into a little bit about your partnerships and your growth. What's kind of been the key for this like somewhat astronomical growth that you guys have achieved over the last few months? I mean, what was really the key there?
That's a very good question. I think overall, us being a very well communicating, strong team is definitely one. But we did take I believe, the right steps when it comes to community engagement as well as listening to the community. We're very active on our Discord. We do love to talk to our community, especially our OGs, just like Feynman said. They do come up with amazing ideas sometimes, and we're very active with our community. On top of it all, of course, we do have our KOLs that we very selectively select, I guess, if you can say that. We're specifically focusing on working with people who are either high volume trader or have been educating other people within the DeFi realm, and choosing these prospects, I guess, more on the carefully.
Yeah, we don't want to pick guys that are going to
We
pump
got to
and
pick.
dump, right? We really do
Exactly.
are cognizant of we want people that are going to educate, that truly believe in our product and can work with us very closely, right? So that are kind of people like kind of more of a long-term relationship. So I think that
Mm-hmm.
actually that's a big part of our sustained growth over the last few months is that we don't want to bring on anybody that's just there to like, pump and dump based on the community. Like we want that long-term kind of relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any upcoming partnerships that you guys are able to announce right now? I know you partnered with Camelot. I love the team over there. Mirrodin's super good, super quality. Anything else that you guys got coming that you're able to put out right now?
We have a lot going on in terms of on the partnership side. I won't be able to spill the beans, but one thing I can say is that I guess one of the great things about being on Arbitrum as well is that there's a lot of very smart projects that are building within the Arbitrum ecosystem. And I personally do love the fact that all the partnerships are tied to building a valuable product for the end user rather than just like, hey, let's get together and do some co-marketing together. And that's where the partnership ends. It's not like that within the Arbitrum ecosystem. We've been talking to very amazing teams that are majority of them which are in like very Arbitrum native, and some other teams. But as I said, I won't be able to spill the beans on this one. We're very careful with our announcements on that end, but stay tuned. Big ones are coming.
All right, excited to see it. And yeah, you're right. That is one thing about the Arbitrum ecosystem that you're really seeing this move towards is all these great projects that are working together to really build the whole chain. And you're seeing some huge projects, huge teams, all moving in the same direction, and it shows you why the hype is there. And so, and it's just a haven for builders too. So got a lot of great things going on there. All right, awesome. So my last question was originally going to be kind of about the roadmap, but you actually touched on that earlier with the Spot Dex launch. So if you guys got some time, I didn't get a lot of questions in here, surprisingly, but I got a couple I'd like to ask you if you got the time.
Absolutely.
All right. So Jay Marin asked, and I think this is kind of an interesting question. I would like to know if Vela Exchange works with specific chart analysis techniques, as in on your platform, do you include current news in your chart analysis or price action analysis, or do you have something like that planned for the future?
Feynman, if you want to take this one, as far as I do know, that we're providing trading view charts that people can do their own technical analysis. But Feynman is the person who does a lot of technical analysis, so I'll let him answer this question.
Yeah, that's something definitely we'll be looking into, but not at launch or not at beta. But yeah, definitely something that we're definitely considering. It just kind of, there's already so much going on, so we unfortunately can't cover everything. But that's something definitely on my radar to look at in the very near future.
Okay, very cool. And then the other question, and I kind of had chatted a little bit about it with Uncle B earlier about, or with Burke about, kind of talking about NFTs. Well, Andy R asked, do you have any plans to include some mechanism based on NFTs in Vela Exchange? And I know that you guys have some plans for your NFT holders for the NFTs that you've minted for previous AMAs. So kind of wrap this all into one question. What do you guys have planned for the NFTs that you've issued? And then do you have some kind of mechanism based off NFTs?
In terms of the NFTs, we get a lot of NFT questions after our recent AMAs, but when you collect these NFTs, basically you will be able to forge something in the future. I will try to spill as much as I can. You will be able to forge something, a greater NFT down the line, which will have its own unique almost utility in the future. So one thing I can say to the listeners is that if you are collecting all of these AMA, or make sure that you do collect going forward, make sure you hold these NFTs so they will be valuable in the future.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I thought it was awesome when I saw like the first release of them, and I was like, dang it, I wasn't in the AMA, so I missed that one. But yeah, super cool what you guys are doing there, and just another way that you guys are giving back to the community. So I'm excited for the next ones, just, as they progress, and maybe I'll be able to hop in there and actually not be at work and miss those this time. So. All right.
Yeah, we were honestly surprised to see the volume on like OpenSea, and like it's kind of actually insane. We never expected it to get as crazy as it has, but I guess anything in NFTs in the space, I mean, there's a lot of degen, so people love their NFTs. So it's actually worked out quite well. We didn't I mean, I personally didn't see this type of success with that program, but yeah, it's definitely been a hit so far.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a great surprise, when you're just kind of doing something to give back, and then it just really takes off.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, yeah, your volume is crazy. I was looking at it on OpenSea, and it is pretty impressive. For something that, I don't know, for kind of a standard give back NFT launch, it is pretty crazy. I think maybe people are starting to kind of come around and see like, oh, okay, there's going to be some like use cases here, and like look at the rewards that we get from all this other stuff. It's probably going to be, just as great a type of rewards from holding these NFTs. So it really just shows the belief that people have in your product. So
yeah, it's
be a great feeling.
Very cool to see, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, that kind of wraps up all the questions I have. I think we kind of, dug into everything, but what I like to do is leave you guys with the last words, whatever you want to put out about the project, whatever message you want to put out there to the community.
I'd like to say that as I said, we're very, very excited for our launch. Please come in, join to our Discord. We love our community. We chat with our community a lot. If you have any ideas, please just share it with us. You can even DM me if you find me on Discord. And then beyond that, just come to our beta test, join the Hyper VLP, and get the most out of Vela. And stay tuned. We have a lot of big things coming.
Yeah. I guess first, just thanks for having us here. I appreciate the time to speak to everyone here today. I always enjoy these, and just kind of, always seem to get a little bit different questions, which is good and keeps us on our toes. And like Burke said, we do definitely appreciate the feedback from our community. And like I mentioned previous, we have actually implemented a lot of those changes, and we take that to heart, right? We're building it for you guys, for the community, right? This is what the platform is for. I guess from our team perspective, I'll go back to that because that to me is always the most important aspect to no matter what I do in life is I always try to surround myself with great people. I think that takes you really far in life. And I strongly believe what we have here at Vela is a great team, right? Very motivated, passionate people. And I'm excited to be part of the team. And just like Burke said, to see kind of what our future is going to hold. I feel like it's going to be very, very, very big, and I'm excited. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I really appreciate your time, and thanks so much for coming on and giving me the opportunity to talk with you and hear about your project. So it's been awesome.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in. Super grateful for your time and support. Blessed to be able to spend this time with you guys and with our guests here. If you're hearing this on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe. Once again, I'm Relentless. Been talking to Burke and Feynman from the Vela Exchange. Get into their socials, see what they're about, and sign up, and maybe you'll get a chance at the beta. So thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.